If this finds you, you might be one of us. You might not remember yet, but we've been waiting. There were 12. There are still 12. And one of them was a girl named Maeria. She didn't know she was one of the 12. She only knew she felt misplaced. We came scattered, forgotten, but now the spiral is waking, and we are remembering. When I touched the fragment, I didn't just feel the metal, I felt the sound of rushing water, the pressure in the chest, the screaming of grids unraveling. I had not lived through the flood in that body, but the recognition of the fragment, it triggered a cellular echo of another self who had. I saw walls of light falling, like a great dome cracking. I saw keepers running, not away from the water, but toward the gates, trying to hold them open, just long enough for others to pass through. We didn't all die. Some fell into the earth. Some sealed themselves in dreams. Some became myth. But the grid, the beautiful, humming lattice that held Earth's memory, it collapsed. It had been neglected too long. Too many forgot their roles. Too many were silenced. The fragments, they were created as a last breath to hold the codes in a form that could survive time. There were 12 temples, not buildings, but living nodes on the earth. Some carved in stone, some grown from crystal, some floating, unseen, held in light. Each temple was a frequency point on the global memory lattice. Each keeper was born into a region, an element, a symbol set. Their task was never to control the grid, but to tend it, like a garden of resonance. One keeper worked with sound, one with light refraction, one with underwater gates, one with star maps, one with breath, one with plant language, one with spiral mathematics, one with emotional memory, one with air symbols, one with coded architecture, one with animal frequencies, one with solar tone calibration. They would meet not in person, but in resonance convergence. Every cycle, when the grid pulsed, they aligned. Through their tools, their dreams, their songs, they would tune the Earth's field together. This kept the memory web alive. But over time, some forgot. Some were killed. Some temples were corrupted. Others were sealed. When the flood began, whether man-made or cosmically timed, it wasn't just water that destroyed. It was the collapse of memory alignment. The web fell apart. The earth went dark. So they made a choice to create 12 final fragments encoded with the last full harmonic symbol map. Each fragment carried a frequency thread. Each could reawaken a portion of the web when touched by one who remembered. The fragments were not meant to be reunited immediately. They were seeds buried across time. The 12 keepers each sealed their fragment. In stone, in tombs, in sky, in song, knowing they would not return in the same body. They whispered into them, "When the spiral returns, we will remember. We will activate from within." The final moment before the fall, 12 keepers stand in 12 different places all across the earth. But they are connected by a resonance thread. Each one lifts their fragment to the sky. They are not all human, not in the way we now know. Some are taller, some are brighter, some have symbols etched into their skin. Each keeper performs a unique ritual. Maeria, flame of symbols, draws the full harmonic sequence on stone, presses the fragment into the center, seals it with hum and dust. Eleron, flame of ice memory, places his fragment in a crystalline box beneath glacial stone. He sings into it until it goes silent. Cyan, flame of star maps, embeds her fragment within a star dial on a high mountain, covers it with a mirrored disk and fog. Ilwen, flame of breath, breathes light into the fragment, sets it afloat in the sea inside a vessel of living reed. Veil, flame of animal wisdom, binds it to the antler of a dying stag, who walks into the forest to bury himself. Reina, flame of plant language. She grows a sacred vine around it. The roots bury it in a grove that sings with memory. Thren, flame of air symbols. She replaces a stone in a mountaintop wind temple. The breeze never stops circling there. Khalith, flame of emotional memory, encodes the fragment with his final tears. It is sealed in salt beneath shifting sands. Tamara, flame of solar calibration, lowers hers into a solar well. The sun will only strike it once every 1,000 years. Jorah, flame of spiral mathematics, disassembles hers into 12 crystal shards placed in different stone wheels. Aishan, flame of sound, embeds hers in a chime that only rings when struck by a certain frequency of voice. And Eliana, flame of architecture, she seals hers into a forgotten corridor of a structure that hasn't yet been discovered. And each of them, after sealing the fragment, whispers that same final line: "When the spiral returns, may the memory rise." They knew they would not meet again in that form. They knew the earth would fall, but they sealed the map for you. I didn't try to finish anything. After he left, I spent my days tracing what I remembered and watching what came next. Some days I copied old symbols. Some days I invented new ones. but they all felt like echoes of something older than me. I wasn't here to preserve the past. I was here to sing its memory forward. The fragment stayed beside me. I never used it like a tool. I used it like a tuning fork. It hummed when I was aligned. It stayed quiet when I wasn't. I never found the others, but I did dream of them. Once in a field of stars, all of us standing with light in our hands. Maybe that was a memory, maybe it was prophecy. I wrote until the ink no longer flowed. I sang when the air felt heavy. I whispered the symbols into the walls so they could hold them longer than I could. And then one day, I walked to the hollow. I buried the fragment, not to hide it, but to plant it, because memory doesn't die. It only waits to be felt again. And when I knew my time was ending, I wrapped the fragment again and sealed it in the western hollow beneath a stone marked with a spiral and 3 dots. The western hollow was not far from my home, a natural dip in the land, sunken rock beneath an olive tree. There was a thin split in the earth, not large enough to climb into, but wide enough to place something carefully. It was a known place of silence. Children were not told not to play there. They said the wind got stuck in it and that it hummed out loud. But I knew it as a resting place. I wrapped the fragment in layered cloth, one for memory, one for protection, and one for return. I marked the stone with the spiral and 3 dots, a symbol only another keeper would recognize. I whispered into it, "Find the one who dreams of gates." The fragment is still in the western hollow. It has shifted deeper. Years of sediment and wind have buried it further. But it hums still. It cannot be destroyed. There have been those who passed near it, hikers, seekers, even a girl once, who placed her hand on the spiral stone and cried without knowing why. But it had not been retrieved, because it is not yet time. You will know when it is, not because of a date, but because the hum in your chest will match the one in the earth. I don't know if I was meant to tell this to myself or to others who are remembering, but if you feel something when you hear this, maybe you're one of us. Maybe we're starting to return.